Now, Positively Ernie with Ernie and a New York TV legend and radio host with great positive stories and interviews.
Thanks, Ernie. You're the best.
And now, here's Ernie.
And we're back. Welcome to the show. Nice to have you here today. As always, I love positive stories and positive people. And you're going to meet somebody right now who's really an amazing human being. This guy is one of the most well-known reporters for entertainment in the world. He is a personality extraordinary. He's a television host. My friend, I've known him for a long time. Rob Shuter is here. Hi, Rob. How are you?
Good to see you. I love this setup, Bernie.
You like the setup?
And it's really impressive. It looks great.
Well, thank you. And you've seen a lot of sets, so
I like it.
Coming from you, I like that a lot, my good friend.
It's good. It's great here.
Rob, I wasn't kidding when I said that you really are an extraordinary entertainment reporter. I mean, your background, your history, for people who don't know, I mean, you really were the executive editor for OK magazine, American version. And with that goes a lot of stories, because I'm going to start with that, because you were involved with Jennifer Lopez and Britney Spears. Now, you had an exclusive interview with Britney Spears when she was really going through quite a bit. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking. So we scored the first sit-down interview and photo shoot with Britney Spears.
How did that happen?
We paid for it. And so, let's be really honest about this. I think we offered her $1 million. It was a ridiculous amount of money, but it was going to sell a lot of copies. So we figured out how many more issues we had to sell to make it worthwhile, and the business people gave that offer. And so it was agreed upon, and the contract was signed, and we went to LA to do a photo shoot and an interview. And what we saw was just
What was
awful.
that like? I mean, at that time especially, she was like an amazing story that everybody was looking for.
Yeah, you can get a little jaded and sometimes forget that these people are real people. And as a reporter, watching this scene unfold, this mayhem, was something that I found riveting. But as a human being, it was awful to watch. And she was in a really bad shape, and ultimately we couldn't run the photographs. They were just too disturbing. I don't think they've ever been seen. I've seen them.
Oh,
but
really?
They were just too disturbing, and she was really out of it. And
I'm curious, do you think those photos will ever be released?
I don't think so. I think it was over 10 years ago, so I would have assumed they would have come out by now. But you never know. I mean, this stuff does eventually usually leak out, but it hasn't yet.
I would think so.
And then we never got to do the interview. She never turned up for the interview, and I hope our check didn't clear. I think we got the money back. But then we did a story about what it was like to have a day in the life with Britney Spears.
Right. Well, you scored a lot of points with that. It was a
it sold crazy. I mean, we got our $1 million back, and we also sold 1 million magazines. So the accounting people were very happy with me. But it's I learnt my skill as a publicist. Like before, I was the editor of OK. I was a celebrity publicist. I worked for J-Lo and Diddy, Alicia Keys.
Yeah, you did a lot.
I loved it, and that's where I learned
about
everything.
J-Lo. I want to hear about
She's extraordinary.
J-Lo.
She's just the boss. Like, she knows what she wants. She's not frightened to ask for what she wants. And, I think some people think strong women can be frightening. I found her to be amazing. I always say that after yes, the next best answer is no. Maybe it gets me nowhere. Maybe leaves the door open. It wastes my time. Jennifer is a yes or no person. She's quite short in her text, which once again some people could think is rude, but no, she wants. She knows what she wants, and it's interesting too. I remember I was at the Golden Globes or maybe the Oscars with Jennifer, and she wasn't treated very well. The other Hollywood stars don't really like J-Lo.
Well, she just did this documentary, by the way. What are the reviews on that?
They were mixed. She's not the most respected in the business, and she knows this, and she's a terrific actress. She
puts
puts
on a show. Too.
Yeah, and
I've interviewed her as well. She's
great.
Yeah.
It's like high school. Hollywood can be really mean, and it's cliquey. And you would think somebody who's as big a star as J-Lo would be up there with the Julia Roberts, but she's not. And so I think that Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? You never think somebody like that would have struggles, but they do.
And Rob, you mentioned Jessica Simpson and Alicia Keys. I mean, you've worked with so many people. People who are listening and watching and saying, okay, standouts. Okay, people who really stand. I know that's a tough one.
Yeah,
because you've done everything. If you had to mention someone that really impressed you and stood out in your mind in the interviews and contact that you had, who would that be?
I got to say, I was Kate Spade's publicist. May she rest in peace.
Oh yeah,
and I loved Katie, and she was so delicious and quirky, and she taught me how kindness was not only the right thing to do, it was the smart thing to do. And so Kate would say, being kind, it doesn't matter what your motive is. If you're being kind because you're a good person, fantastic.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, the end result is the same. So if you're being kind to be smart, the end result's the same. So Kate just said, be kind. And she taught me the power of a follow-up thank you note.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Kate did an interview or met somebody.
Was it handwritten? I'm curious.
Yeah, on Kate Spade's stationery.
Little isn't that a nice thing to receive?
No, I don't send handwritten notes, but I always send a thank you text or a thank you
I think that's so important.
It is.
Kindness is very important, and being thoughtful that way. You mentioned Kate, the name Kate. Now I'm thinking about Kate Middleton, okay? And that's a big story that's been popping all over the place. I want to get your reaction to what happened. What did happen?
I'm told that Kate does not want this disclosed. They're going to extraordinary measures to keep this a secret. There's been lots of rumours, lots of whispers within the palace about a potential eating disorder. She's really, really thin. The last time I saw Kate, painfully thin. And I think big picture, I don't know what specifically happened to send her to the hospital, but I do know big picture, Kate is quite a quiet person. She likes to be in the country with her dogs and her family. She's not a show pony. She'll never live in Buckingham Palace. She doesn't like to go to premieres or red carpet events. She doesn't even like really public speaking. No. Kate is quite a reserved person. And I think this job
wants to be her own person.
Bad fitting job for her, but she's got it. She's going to be the Queen of England.
Sounds a little bit like Princess Diana, for goodness sakes.
That's exactly what it is. And I think that she didn't quite know. Nobody would know except maybe Meghan Markle and Diana what it's like to marry into this family. And if you think about a family business, that's what this is. It's the ultimate family business. So I think Kate very much wants to be part of this family, doesn't really like
it's the control, that really, what did happen with the photograph? You ask yourself, why did they do that? I mean, it was obvious. Yeah, and now isn't there another photo
there is another
with the Queen?
Yeah, well, I think if we look over celebrity famous people's pictures, we're going to find a little bit of Photoshop. A little bit on everyone's. I remember I was with Alicia Keys and she did the cover. I think it was Essence magazine.
Right.
And maybe it was People. And they definitely stretched her. She was a little taller and thinner on the actual one that came out, and she was the one that pointed it out. She was like, "Oh my goodness!" So this goes on all the time. It sounds like a big controversy.
I was about to say that a lot of this is acceptable in many ways. Yeah, look, we've got AI, and that's a major factor. Okay? In the entertainment business, what are we going to expect as far as artificial intelligence and all of the new technology that's out there? What is on the horizon?
People are terrified. This is why Fran Drescher really fought hard her union to make sure there was some control over this, but people are really frightened of AI. Change is hard. It doesn't matter if you're in the entertainment business or not.
Right.
Change is hard.
And it's changing all the time.
And life
everywhere.
changes.
Yeah, I know.
And, trying to go back to the days where we had buggies and carts or when we had typewriters, they're gone.
We remember that. Yeah.
And so, I think the success in life and in your work life and personal is it's coming. Change is coming. So we've got to figure out a way that we can make it work for us. They'll figure it out.
So how does that impact you? Okay. I mean, you're a great entertainment reporter. You do so many things, talk to so many people. In terms of what you see for the future, in terms of content, the creators of content, I mean, that's a major.
That's major.
Talk about changes.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge, but it also can be quite helpful too, that the mundane stuff now we can let a computer do. But I think at the end of the day, I'm always going to be in business because gossip is probably, people say something else is the oldest profession. I would argue gossip is the oldest profession in the world. If you go to the Met Museum here in New York, they have this amazing temple of Denmore, I think, Demdor.
Yes.
And on the walls are graffiti, which is basically gossip. Yeah. So gossip goes back to the ancient times. said, everyone always has a story. Yeah. If you listen, if you shut up and listen, which has been something I had to learn to do, people ultimately tell you their story.
I think most people, when they're watching, let's say the Oscars or the Emmys, right? It's the red carpet that gets so much attention because you want to see these people, not on stage and maybe hear something that they're going to say that they wouldn't ordinarily say.
Yeah, I love it when people mess up.
Yeah.
It's so exciting and it's delicious and it gives us an insight into them. And stories are everywhere. It was the great Liz Smith who really mentored me and went out of her way to be kind. The legendary Liz Smith. Yeah. And she said, if you just listen, everyone has a story and people aren't quiet or shy. Yes. You just haven't found something they want to talk about yet.
Yeah, you're right.
And so everybody has a passion. And I think part of our job is finding what that passion is.
But Rob, that's good. And let me ask you this, though, because a lot of people today, when we're looking for information, wherever it happens to be, are looking for one thing, the magic word. Truth. Where is the truth? Okay, there are issues in the news business, but also in the entertainment business. People are looking for, is that a real story? Is that the truth?
It's hard to know. I mean, you're like somebody that told you a story at dinner.
Right.
Think of the person who told it you. Who's your source here?
Right.
And if it's somebody that you trust, if it's a dear friend, you're going to believe it. And it probably is the truth. The thing that got so complicated is that there are shades of grey in the truth. And when we're little, we want to believe it's yes or no. We want to believe it's either the truth or a lie. And often there are many different stories. And so if I interview somebody about an event, it'll be different, even if it's the same event, from somebody else. And so like a good reporter is somebody that tries to listen to everything and give a balanced view. And so it's tricky though. It's not as easy. It's not math. Right. Like what we do, entertainment, gossip, celebrity, it's not math. It's not 2 and 2 is 4. That's a fact.
Yes.
Is Jennifer Lopez a great singer or not? That is not a fact. That's an opinion.
Right.
And so that's when you have these different competing stories.
I want to get your view on something too, because now everybody has a telephone, right? And everybody has access to social media and so forth. And people, I did a story on this recently about how there's a lot of narcissism out there because people are just posting, so many things with themselves, and there are stars that are being created and developed through social media. Your take on that in terms of,
I hate it.
Justin Bieber's.
No, I hate it. It's horrible. I've got to get with it because this is the future. But, it took me a while to jump on the reality star bandwagon. Like when Jessica emailed me to be her publicist to represent her, I sort of cringed a little bit because she was on that reality show with her husband, Nick. And I was like, I wish she was just a singer still. And I was wrong. Like, this is where the future is. But I don't like it. And I love telling other people's stories. I have trouble telling my own. And so I'm quite bad actually at Instagram and Facebook and all that. I don't really reveal much. I don't like it.
Here you are in the business, right? Hey, some other names too. Paris Hilton was in
she was amazing.
In your resume, if you will. Tell me about Paris Hilton.
She was extraordinary. She's a real businesswoman. It's all an act. That dumb blonde is all an act. She's an absolute wizard. She knows what she's doing. She knows how to wink and move her arms and her head, and she knows her clothes are important. And she even has that wispy little voice, which is not real. Like when you call her on the phone, she talks like this. But when during interviews, she whispers. And so like Michael Jackson. And so
she handles herself very well.
She's a wizard at this, and she didn't need to do it. She's a Hilton. She really is. Yeah. She has all that family money. Right. She didn't need to do this. She created really reality stardom. It's really Paris that did the first selfie ever. Is Paris Hilton. She's the first one that held up her device. It was before the iPhones and took a picture. It was Paris Hilton that invented the selfie. And
is that a known fact?
It's a fact out there.
Paris Hilton
invented the selfie. Yep. And she also invented, arguably, somebody that went on and eclipsed Paris. She invented Kim Kardashian. When I was working for Paris, Kim was her stylist.
Unbelievable.
And she used to follow Paris around. And I used to be, I saw her all the time. I was like, who's she? And then she turned into Kim Kardashian.
Unbelievable. I love talking to you about people and personalities. Now, you may not want to answer this question.
Oh, that's it.
No, I asked you, some of the best people that you interviewed that really impressed you. Is there someone Oh, roll that drum. Is there somebody that you were disappointed?
Oh, every day
you
there's
were
people.
disappointed.
Yeah, it's just, you can't go into this
You don't
looking
want
for
to
them to
name
be your
names.
friends. Oh, I will. Madonna's not very nice. Madonna's
okay.
I'm the biggest Madonna fan in the world.
Yeah.
And when I interviewed her, she was really rude. And who else? I represented John Bon Jovi for a long time
Bon Jovi.
too.
How
And
was
he's
that?
not the kindest guy. Like, he's
No,
not
why?
as warm and fuzzy as I
does
wanted
great
him to be.
reputation,
I know,
too.
he does great charity work. He's a
Yeah.
fantastic performer.
I know.
But we're not going to go out and get a beer together. And so there, it's once again, it's degrees. Like, John's not a bad person. He's just not warm and fuzzy. Alicia Keys is tough.
Keys.
Like, when I worked
She's
for
tough
Alicia,
too, yeah.
Alicia's not going to sit down. We're not going to braid each other's hair. And we're not going to watch movies together, rom-coms. She's a tough person. I think they're like little businesses, maybe not so little, and they run them like they're the CEO. And I think that the way to think about it is that the person that runs your company might be quite tough.
Yes.
And that's the same with a lot of celebrities. What we see on TV is part of who they are.
Part
it's
of
not
who
the
they
full
are.
picture. I'm tough too, though. I've got to say, like, if you ask people about me,
in many ways you have to be,
I
right?
can be like a bit of a pain in the bottom too.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
like, I get it.
But somehow you have to be. They say that the difference between the successful and the unsuccessful salesperson, the successful one asks for the order. So you have to be able to be in that position to say, okay, this is what I need. This is what I want to find out about. It's not an easy thing to be in the business that you're in. You do so many things. Tell me about some of the projects you're working on right now.
iHeart's just hired me to do a daily show. So I'm doing a daily podcast now every morning by 9 a.m. in my contract. It has to be live and posted. And I looked at the charts. I'm trying to not become obsessed about it, but I think I'm number 10 on the charts.
Good for you.
It's top 10 podcasts.
Good for you.
And there's millions of podcasts. So that's
I know.
really, really exciting out there.
How do you set up your guests and content and what you're going to do?
It's so interesting. I'm glad you asked this. Whenever I have a guest on, the numbers go down. They don't want me talking
How
to
interesting
you.
is
They
that?
want me talking about you. Because I can say stuff about you that I wouldn't ask you. So I can actually be quite cheeky.
They'd rather have you
They want
just
me.
look at the camera and
want me.
talk.
It's not on camera, mine's just audio. But it's just like, I just talk. And I do 20 minutes. I sometimes have a co-host who's another gossip columnist, another entertainment reporter. But whenever I've had a celebrity on, I was like, oh, gosh, this is going to get 1 million hits. This is a big
you think so,
star.
right?
Their numbers go down. They want... And I tell people all the time, and I think it's such a fun way to think about this. I'm in the friendship business. I'm not in the celebrity business. I'm in the friendship business. People, me too, we're lonely and, we want to check out for 20 minutes and listen to some funny, silly stories about Kate or Meghan or Kim Kardashian. And so that's what I do each day now.
I can understand how that works because, if I'm going to tune in and listen to you, right? But I expect to hear from you if you're alone, telling me some good stories and truthful stories. You're saying that if you have the guest on...
Well, they don't tell me the truth either. Like, they won't tell you, like, the truth. and they're often very guarded. It's hard now. I think it's always been hard being a celebrity.
Yeah.
And I ask cheeky questions. It's called Naughty But Nice. And I think that tells you exactly who I am. I'm naughty. I love to laugh. And I like to pinch. I don't punch. But I do pinch people. It makes me giggle. And so if you're not coming to play, then it's probably not the podcast for you.
How are we doing in the entertainment business in the community of diversity and inclusion and so forth? Because that's a very important...
Very important.
It really is.
I think we're doing much better. And I think now, because the way the business has changed, and anybody now can have a podcast. You can do this yourself. So, not so long ago, a decade ago, there were so many gatekeepers and you couldn't have a radio show or you couldn't have a TV show. You couldn't have a video if you weren't hired by a network or a big company. Now, with your iPhone, you can be your own broadcaster, and it might not be as sharp as what we're looking at here, but you can do it. And so I see these people... Like we have more content than ever. I would argue we have too much, but we have more content than ever. And if you want to do it, do it. Don't wait to do it.
Yeah,
do it.
Do it. You brought up an interesting point about maybe we have too much. Okay, you know, I interviewed somebody and talked about the problem in our world today is that we have too many choices of everything. You know, go out and buy toothpaste. You know, one brand has got 20 different or more, right? So talk a little bit about the future, because I love to be positive, and I don't want to, you know, end on a negative note. But if we're looking at the positivity of the entertainment business and what's happening with all of the things we've talked about, social media and platforms and so forth, what can we look forward to?
You're going to find what you're looking for. Yeah. There is so much out there now. Yeah. You can find whatever turns you on, whatever interests you. I promise you there's a podcast, a YouTube channel, there's something out there for you, and I think that is a good thing. It might not have a mass appeal anymore. Right. I think we're going from the days of broadcasting to much more niche, smaller markets now. Yeah. But you will find your tribe, and I think that's true in life too. I really do. As odd as I am, I found my tribe, I found my people, I found my group.
You sure have.
And they're not, you know, the largest, they're pretty large, but find your people. Find people that you want to hang out with, that make you smile. And if you don't leave my podcast or drinks with a friend with a smile on your face, don't come back. Yeah. That's my rule.
That's pretty honest about it.
I was out last night with friends, and when I was coming home in my Uber, I had a huge smile on my face, and I was like, I'm going to do this again. Do it. But if I had a grumpy face, I wouldn't do it again. Do things that make you happy.
You know, the most important thing in life, in my opinion, is to have passion and enthusiasm for what you're doing.
And you can't fake it.
You can't fake it.
John Bon Jovi said that to me once. John said that you have to be passionate, and you can't, if you're not passionate, find something else to do.
You bet.
I like it. I like getting up every day and doing this. It's not a job. It's a fun thing to do.
You know what? You're the best. You really are. I mean, I know people who have been listening and watching to this podcast are saying, I love this guy, Rob. They probably all know you, but if they don't know you, they're going to check out your podcast. That's for sure. Rob Shuter, the best in the business. I'm telling you, it's such a pleasure to have you here today.
I'm going to come back.
Thanks,
love
Rob.
Here. It's great.
Please do that, okay?
You're the best.
Rob Shuter. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.